I got something I want to talk about, and I be meditating all the time, and I want to bring this. I'm just honestly giving. I said we know that we live in a country where there are laws. So the word law simply means order. That's all it means. Uh, Order. Uh, I don't know, protection, order, correct. Supposed to be to mean setting things, making sure it's safe, making sure it's all those different things. But I want to talk to you for a few minutes of how the so-called police officer shit. That shit. I don't have no kind of respect for that name. Not me. I don't have no respect because the so-called rapists, robbers, and murderers, the police and all of that. That shit never protected not nobody in my community since I've been on the planet. All that shit name, that's like a person going in the name of being a child of God and the biggest fucking demon you ever want to see. That's really what it is because police, so-called police, which is the demon, and the denomination of church, to me, all of them similar. They all have a tie. They all have some kind of tie and a connection. They do. A lot of them, all of them do. Denominational church, anything that was set up and created by your enemy, anything on this earth, earthly, government, presidents, all this bullshit, all that ignorant bullshit. Um, you can never put your trust in. And most of our people put their trust in the damn government. And when you tell them that they're putting their trust in the damn system, that is never going to be for them, no way. It's never no justice. Voting and denomination of church, all that shit is all connected and tied in together. They all got some similarities. They all have a part they play in putting our people into the ground by the so-called white man. All that shit has a connected tie. Government, an agent, all of that shit is tied in together. The so-called polices ain't nothing but a damn agent. All of that shit is agent. It is. Your churches, all of that is controlled by agent. It's all government control. And it has been one of the main tools that was created is to keep our black asses down and to keep our ass under the full control. Why do you think when you look in households, the grandpa can't even do that with the damn kids because the grandkids is all fucked up because granddaddy chooses to let the kids run the motherfucking house. Granddaddy is scared of the grandkids, and the grandkids is controlling that motherfucker. They are. I have a whole lot more that I want to talk about that's on my mind. I know I can't just spew it all out piece at a time. Our people, if you look at our people today, ever since I growed up as a young man, a young teenager, I seen some elderly people. Now, you rarely see this in the elderly communities. We don't even have the older people no more that really care about the young people nor people their age. Never did. Have you ever grew up around elderly people? They knew you as a little boy, but they still hate you. You have a lot of our elderly people cannot stand their own people. You have a lot of the elderly, and I hate to say it like that, because when you look at the elderly, we supposed to be able to look at these people and say, and look up to these people. We should be able to, our elderly people should be saying things like, and our elderly women, all of them, how's things going? Don't get out there and get into that. We should be able to look to our elderly people. But when you grow up, have you ever just grew up around somebody? They see you make mistakes in the community. The first thing they want to do is, although you don't know any better, and I have seen a lot of the elderly people coming up in my day. I've seen people take and go on their property or trespass on their property. You know what these elderly people do? They'll turn around and take and call the unjust fucking law on another black man. And when you are, as a child, you feel bad about it, but you don't think that much of it. And when you get older, you be like, damn, they handling it like that as elderly? God damn, they handling it like that as an elder, when they could have just easily just pulled the child aside or the teenager and say, look, young man or young woman, I didn't like what you did. You came and you took and tied or put your property on to my property without my permission. I'm just making an example. Now, I don't want to see, I didn't like what you did, and I'm here to, although it was my property and I didn't like what you did, but the next time you want something or you want this or that and the third, you could have just asked. Even if I would have said no, the proper thing to do is to ask. But our elderly people, I guess they didn't have a good life when they was coming up, because you're looking at a generation before the little child's generation. They're older. Now the young kids is the next generation. So what they doing, they passing that fucked up way to their children. And then when their children get older and their children have children, then they grandkids pick that shit up. And then when the grandkids get older and start having children, then their grandkids have the same fucked up way of thinking about themselves. They do. Even in this year that we live in now, supposed to be so-called 2020, you have a lot of our elderly people now. They concerned about all this shit about fucking Donald Trump and Joe Biden, all them damn people. You can't even go to the elderly people is sold out to the government. So how you gonna expect the children is to respect fucking you, respect you? Why don't you teach your kids the ways of the Most High and keep the commandments of the Most High God? Instead of sitting there worried about who gonna be the motherfucking next whatever the shit, all that shit. If we shouldn't even be concerned about that political shit. I got some stuff that I want to get to that I didn't actually get a chance to read to you all. I was looking into some stuff and I was asking the question, when was the police organization created? When did the movement of the law of police force, when was it created? When did it start? What was the purpose of it? These are the questions that I had in my mind. And this is a lot of things that and then see, we have Google right now. And a lot of my people don't even take time, don't even want to even look up nothing. But I was thinking in my mind, I do a lot of thinking every day, all through the day, all the time. You see what I'm saying? So I want to read something to you all. Just to give you a general idea. This is just a general idea reading, but it's gonna give you the true facts. Here I go. The modern police force started. The modern police force started in the early 1900s, but its origin dates back to the American colonies when they colonized everything in the South. We have a lot of slaves in the South. In the 1700s, the pastor, uh, the portional groups were created to stop the 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 portional groups were created to stop runaway slaves in a North. A form a former police force was created to control immigrants who was moving into the cities. It says, hold on, wait a minute, let's see here. Where did the police force originate?
New York in 1845.
The first city police services were established in Philadelphia in 1751, Richmond, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia in 1807, Boston in 1838, in New York in 1845. The U.S. Secret Services was founded in 1865 and was for some time the main investigation body for the federal government. Where did the police originate from? A stylus letter F. The modern police force started in the early 1900s, but its origin dates back to the American colonies in the South in the 1700s. Past portional groups were created to stop runaway slaves. In the North, a former police force was created to control immigrants who were moving into the cities in the 1800s. Somebody wrote that, I guess, June the 2nd, 2020. Who created cops? On September the 14th, 2013, started with its 26th season episode of Cops started broadcasting in high definition. The program's last new episode aired on May the 11th, 2020. The history of police American force. I think that's what I. It would be easy to think that the police officer is a figure who has existed since the beginning of civilization. That's the idea on display in the proclamation from President John Kennedy. President John F. Kennedy on the dedication of the week of May the 15th as National Police Week. Okay, that sounds interesting. In which he noted that law enforcement officers have been protecting America since the nation's birth. In fact, The United States police force is a relatively modern invention sparked by changing notions of public order, driven in turn by economics and policies, according to Gary Potter's, a crime historian at Eastern Kentucky University. Yeah. So I'm gonna come. I could read the rest of that, but I want to make sure I'm reading the words and understanding them right. The modern police. Okay, let's look at what's that word? Patrol. Patrol. Partol. What is Partol?
Here's the definition of patrol: an expedition to keep watch over an area, especially by guards or police walking.
Patrol. Okay, let me read that again. The modern police force started in the early 1900s, but its origin dates back to the American colonies in the South in the 1700s. In the 1700s, patrol groups were created to stop runaway slaves in the North. A formal police force was created to control immigrants who were moving into cities in the 1800s. So that's when the police forces were created. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop this video and I'm gonna hold on, wait a minute before I do that. Let me take and go on to YouTube. Let me plug this up. Okay, hear that. Let me I'm gonna go on to that account, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share this video to YouTube. I think I put it on my Twitter. Okay, so okay. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and just stop this right now, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start up another one eventually.